So many organizations are bringing us in to do work to help them get situated in achieving their external missions. And what we have found is that upon arrival, sometimes they're stuck. And what we realized is that they needed a practice for entering to the work that was rooted in shared values. And that's where the core to community impact approach originated from. This repetitive feeling of organizations who had really big missions about work they wanted to do out in the world, but there was something internally stopping them from getting there. This practice is really what surfaced all the work that we're here to discuss today. Core to community impact approach is really for anyone. Who it was designed for were people who are leading change that has consequences on the lives of real people and community. And so you may ask yourself, like, who are those people? So we're specifically talking about, like, if you're focused on policy advocacy, if you're working in education, if you're in the field of philanthropy, like you're making decisions in these public sector systems on a day-to-day basis, this is for those folks.
We're talking about really complicated, complex issues, climate change, social health disparities. And in order to do that work well, not only do you have to know yourself, but you have to be able to collaborate with others, right? And so we're talking about the conditions needed to really achieve impact.
We don't really stop to think about it, but systems are made of individuals. And so at the end of the day, I think what's really surfaced in this approach is that you can't really effectively move a system unless you face yourself.
If you're an organization who wants to engage with this approach, I'm gonna set up what it actually looks like to practice it. And so there's 3 elements to core to the community impact approach. The first element is what we call self. All self is asking you to do is take inventory over your life in stages and pull insights from those stages and ask yourself, how does this impact me in what I'm doing today?
We're talking about bringing in a new paradigm really of self in the workplace, how we're making decisions as leaders. That's hard.
When I think about the work that you're doing to yourself, it goes deeper. It's a lot of reflection. It's a lot of interrogating maybe biases that have come up, really thinking about where you're actually situated and the position or the influence or the power that you carry.
Yeah, if I can just add to that, I think like the inner work is an active, dynamic process that we're undergoing. It's not like self-care where we're doing something for ourselves. This is an active process of doing unto ourselves and that we're emerging out of. And so it's alive, it's moving, it's in motion.
The second level of that is this concept of others. And so as you move from self to others, you're asking yourself, what consequence do I have now that I'm in a group? And so questions you would ask yourself at this stage of the work is, when were you part of an in-group, Bryan? When were you part of an out-group?
Yeah, lots of times.
Right. How does that feel?
Right.
And really understanding that we're not individuals outside of a context. Like, humans are tribal. We all belong in communities. Like, this is our community right now of colleagues. So the others work pushes you to think of the world beyond self and in the context of a community setting. And then this last phase of the practice is, I think, actually the most important. Because as you're transitioning from the others work to that of systems, you have to go through this process of building shared humanity. And when you get to shared humanity, that's when the work really starts. Because now you're asking yourself, based on who I am in the world and my lived experience, based on the context that has when I'm in community with people, how do I make decisions differently that can have system change outcomes? The process is intentional in that you don't ever just stay in one, that you're cyclical. You're always moving through like your lived experience. You're always moving through the concept of others. And we're always in some form or fashion, particularly in nonprofit and social impact work, we're always thinking about systems change.
And at the end of the day, it's about remembering that alignment is a habit and you have to practice it. It's a continual process that you're embarking upon, rediscovering things about yourself, how you're interacting with others, and ultimately how you're interacting with and impacting the systems that you're involved in. So much of what we do feels like it's common sense. But if you can do those common sense things, it really is going to amplify the impact that you're looking to make.
One final example here is, often in our sector, people always talk about cross-sector tables. This concept of bringing stakeholders from different backgrounds all around one table. We don't just focus on the work they're going to do when they get at the table. Our approach focuses on what's going to make them successful when they arrive at the table. And to me, that's a huge aspect of this that we can't lose sight of.
that investment pays dividends, right? Like the doing that work in the front is what you get to reap the benefit on the back end.
Totally.
You don't ever need permission to be able to start with yourself. You just need that intentionality to be able to show up.
Yes.
I mean, we're in high stake times, and a lot of organizations may be feeling like they're in disequilibrium, which is all the more reason why this approach can be deployed in these moments of change.
Yeah. You know, I feel like when we hear words like shared humanity, a lot of these buzzwords that are floating around now, this is actually bringing practice to that buzzword. It's bringing a tangible route forward that will have outcomes beneficial to you, your communities, the system, all of it.
Yeah. And I love that you're taking us back to shared humanity, because ultimately this approach is designed to move you past zero-sum games. There is a way to fully see and engage with people, even if they have a fundamentally different worldview than yours. And there's elements and tools that we've thoughtfully created to allow that work to happen.